Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos and welcome to the Elite Challenge League Preliminary Trial. Whoever wins here today is going straight through to the Grand Trial in 2 weeks, and it's between the Olivine and the Cinnabar Flare. Now the Flare are going to start out with Rapidash and Colossal, whereas Bronzong and Copperaja are going to start out for the Olivine. Now let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win today. Will it be the Steel type or will it be the Fire type Flare? Now Rapidash is going to start out for the Cinnabar Flare. And also remember, in between games 1 and 2, we will have a tour of the Blushing Beach in Maracopia Islands provided by Pokemon Snap. And between games 2 and 3, we'll be going to the Incineroar Rumble at the Unova League. Bronzong now set up for a Tail Whip, looking to lower the defenses here of the Cinnabar Flare. Now, earlier on this season, the Cinnabar Flare actually defeated the Olivine. They are one of the 4 sides to beat the Olivine this season. So we'll see if they can do that again here today. Now Copperaja going with the Ice Shard. It's not going to be very effective on the Fire type Rapidash. Colossal going for its first move of the matchup. It's going with the Nightshade. This will do a lot more damage to Bronzong than what it will to Copperaja, but unfortunately it does go to Copperaja, still doing a decent amount of damage from the Rock Fire type there. Now, as always, this is a 6-on-6 Metronome battle, and if we hit the 20-minute time limit, we will go into single battle overtime because we need victors here in these trials. Takedown there coming from Rapidash onto Bronzong. Now, it's not very effective. Rapidash is going to get that recoil damage. Bronzong with its opportunity to respond here. Going to go with the Defog. Targeting Colossal there, so it's going to lower Colossal's evasiveness. Copperaja with its chance to follow up as well. Going with the Super Fang, this is instantly going to halve Colossal's health. So it's actually a really good hit there by Copperaja. Colossal just hanging on in the green. Now Colossal going to go with the Rock Blast, this multi-hit move. It's going to respond to Copperaja here. Gets the first hit. It's got the 2. It's got 3. It'll only get through that not very effective hit. It's actually doing quite good damage with those not very effective moves onto Copperaja. Rapidash now going for the Mud Slap, continuing to target Bronzong. So it looks like Rapidash is going to focus on Bronzong while Colossal is going to be focusing on Copperaja. That will lower Bronzong's accuracy. Bronzong's still going to be able to go for an Ember. Now this won't be very effective onto Colossal. Does take it down into the yellow. But Colossal's got that Steam Engine ability as well, so its speed's going to get a massive boost here. And no surprise, it does go next. And it's going to go with the Strength Sap, so it's actually going to restore its health by taking the attack, by lowering the attack stat of Copperaja. And with that, Colossal gets itself back to full strength. A very good play there by Colossal early on in this matchup. Now we get a Coil coming from Copperaja. Now the Olivine must be very confident coming into these championship trials. There's only one team that has beaten them, and that is the Cinnabar Flare here. But if they lose here today, they will go into the preliminary trial next week. So whoever loses here today does not get eliminated from the championship trials. They will get a second chance next week, as we get a Tar Shot from Colossal onto Bronzong. Colossal making the most of that boosted speed stat. It's even faster than Rapidash now. Rapidash going with the Zen Headbutt, and it continues to target Bronzong. And Bronzong's still holding on. Not very effective attack, so Bronzong's still in the green. Now Copperaja is going to go with the Magnet Rise. It's going to elevate itself due to electromagnetism there. Now Bronzong going with the Slash. Goes for Rapidash here. A very good hit onto the Burning Horse, taking it down into the yellow. Colossal now, as I said, is the quickest Pokemon on the field thanks to that Steam Engine ability, and it's going to go with the Round. Going for Copperaja here. And that'll finally get Copperaja down into the yellow. These Olivine, with their resistances, can take so many hits in these battles. They have to be hit hard and fast, but surprisingly, when the Cinnabar Flare beat them, it was actually in overtime. With the way this match has started up, it is a very methodical pace by these two sides. Now Colossal going to set up for a Skull Bash. It's going to tuck its head in on this turn and go for that Skull Bash on the next turn. And it also boosts its defenses here. Now Rapidash is going to go with that Steel Wing. This time it goes for Copperaja instead of Bronzong, changing its target, but still those not very effective moves, but Copperaja has to use Struggle. Going for Colossal. Massive recoil damage to Copperaja though. Bronzong also having to use its Struggle. These Pokemon sharing moves with Rapidash, but Rapidash is eliminated from Bronzong's hit there. Bronzong taking damage from its recoil as well, but that is our first elimination of the matchup. This is the start that the Olivine will want, but the Cinnabar Flare have sent out Darmanitan, who's had an unbelievable season. One of the highest eliminators of any Pokemon in the Elite Challenge League. So that Skull Bash connects with Copperaja, but doesn't finish the job. It is an easy target though for Darmanitan. Darmanitan's going to go with the Wild Charge, who gets some recoil damage from this, and it goes for Bronzong instead, but still it gets the elimination with a critical hit, so already we're back to being level. There are 4 Pokemon remaining on both sides. What a hit though by Darmanitan. Copperaja is going to have to do something big. It is on the field all by itself at the moment. And it's going to go with the Lens Wrath. This will be super effective on both Pokemon. And huge damage to both Fire-types, but they actually both hold on. Both Darmanitan and Colossal being taken down into the road as Ferrothorn comes out onto the field. But if anyone takes a hit, excluding Ferrothorn here, you have to think they'll be eliminated. Unless Ferrothorn takes a fire hit. But Colossal's going to go with the Floral Healing. And it targets Copperaja with that move. That is a very poor play by Colossal. It takes Copperaja back up into the green, helping out the opposition. Darmanitan goes with the Shadow Claw. And it goes for Copperaja, taking it back into the yellow, but that would have gotten the elimination for the Cinnabar Flare. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen due to that Floral Healing, but Copperaja now going with the Clear Smog, targets Darmanitan and finishes off the very impressive Pokemon already, so Darmanitan has been taken down. Ferrothorn now can focus in on Colossal and get a very big lead going forward. The Olivine goes with the Cotton Spore though. That Cotton Spore is going to lower Colossal's speed, but I have to think it's still going to be moving much quicker than Ferrothorn, who only has a speed stat of 20. It is the slowest Pokemon amongst these two sides, excluding Scavalier, who's also got the 20 speed stat, but Charizard now coming out for the Cinnabar Flare. Cinnabar Flare really need to capitalize on their Fire-type advantage over the Steel-types as Colossal sets up for a tea time. So everybody's going to enjoy their Leopard Berries here on the field. And the Olivine had the biggest winning streak this season. They actually won half of their 14 games in a row. They won 7 games straight. And it wasn't even the Cinnabar Flare who ended it, but the Cinnabar Flare actually gave them a two game in a row loss. So the Olivine are capable of losing 2 games back to back. But it's always very doubtful. They've been so dominant this season. The Bullet Seed very ineffective against Ferrothorn from Charizard. Copperaja going for the foul play. Goes for Charizard here. A very good hit on the Cantonian starter Pokemon. Now Ferrothorn's going to go with the Flail. Surely it's going to want to target Colossal, and that it does, and eliminates the Rock type. That is 3 Pokemon down now for the Cinnabar Flare. The Olivine are having a very strong start here in the major semi-trials. Now coming out for the Cinnabar Flare is another starter Pokemon, Cinderace, the Galarian Fire starter. That speed advantage is going to be massive for the Cinnabar Flare, but they need to capitalize on it here. Cinderace going for its first move of the matchup, and it's going to go with the Guillotine. And it's going to connect. Ferrothorn takes the Guillotine, and it's a one-hit KO. Ferrothorn has been eliminated. That is the way to make an impact in this matchup. Charizard could follow up with that momentum. Goes with a Liquidation. Targeting Copperaja whilst it's all by itself. A very good hit taking Copperaja down into the road, but it's still holding on here. And it's going to respond with a Hammer Arm. Targets Charizard, responding to it, taking it down into the yellow. It's not very effective, and it's also going to lower Copperaja's speed as well. Not that Copperaja has to worry about being quicker than either Cinderace or Charizard. Duraludon now, the Dragon Steel type, coming out to join Copperaja. Cinnabar Flare still in this matchup, although it's never a good sign when the Olivine are leading. That Venoshock is going to be ineffective against the Steel types from Cinderace. Steel types are immune to all poison type attacks, but that Trop Kick is going to connect with Copperajah coming from Charizard. It's also going to lower Copperajah's attack, but it wasn't enough to finish the job. Duraludon now going for its first move of the matchup, and it's going to go for the Roar of Time. And it's a one-hit wonder. Cinderace has been eliminated by Duraludon. This is massive. There's only 2 Pokemon remaining for the Cinnabar Flare. Copperajah with an opportunity to target Charizard, but instead goes for the Harden. So it's going to boost its defenses drastically here. Last Pokemon now coming out for the Cinnabar Flare. And it's Turtonator, another Dragon-type Pokemon coming out onto the field. Turtonator, that dual Dragon Fire type in. Charizard now sets up for the Howl. Doesn't go for an offensive move. Copperajah has been in this matchup for over 10 minutes and still has not been taken down by the Cinnabar Flare. Duraludon having to recharge after that impressive Roar of Time. Turtonator needs to capitalize on that here. It's going to go with the Power Trip. And it's going to go for Copperajah with this move. And finally, Copperajah has been eliminated. That's now 3 Pokemon down for the Olivine, 4 Pokemon down for the Cinnabar Flare, as Klinklang comes out for the Olivine. The Olivine still with the 3-2 advantage over the Cinnabar Flare. And Charizard now going with a Thrash. Decent hit there onto Duraludon, even though not very effective. We know that that move will hit over consecutive turns. We get a Cross Poison now coming from Klinklang. Its first move of the matchup going for Turtonator. Duraludon looking to follow up. And it's going to go with the Razor Leaf. This isn't going to be very effective, but it'll hit both Charizard and Turtonator. Even getting the critical hit on Charizard there as Turtonator looks to respond for itself and its teammate. And it's going to go with the Headbutt. This won't be very effective, but it does go for Duraludon there, chipping away at that Dragon type. Charizard now going with the Thrash, targeting Klinklang. Going between the two. That move should be expected to hit in the next turn as well. Klinklang first going to go with the Hydro Cannon. Goes for Charizard and it'll finish it off. So Charizard has been eliminated with that super effective hit. Turtonator is all by itself and the Olivine still have 3 Pokemon left. Duraludon could capitalize right now. Going with the Cotton Spore instead though. Did see this move earlier on in the matchup. It is going to lower Turtonator's speed. It already is the slowest Pokemon on the field though, so I don't think it matters too much. Now Turtonator going to go with the Air Slash. Taking Duraludon down into the yellow. Wasn't very effective. If Turtonator can capitalize on its fire typing, which it really needs to do, Klinklang having to recharge. Duraludon now goes with the Bite. Turtonator needs to shake off a flinch here, and that it does. And it's going to go with the Fury Cutter, another not very effective move, but it is trying to chip away at these steel types as best as it can. Now Cinnabar Flare do not want to go down into the preliminary trial next week. Whoever wins out of the Melee Draconids and the Hearthome Haunts will be facing the loser of this matchup here today. That Fairy Wind takes Turtonator down into the yellow. Duraludon looking to follow up. It's going to go with a Wild Charge. We saw this earlier from Darmanitan. But it's not going to be as successful for Duraludon. Duraludon taking that recoil damage and Turtonator still holding on. Turtonator now goes for the coil, so it's not going to go for the offensive move, instead boosting its stats here. Now Turtonator's boosted its attack, defense, and accuracy. If it can go for a one-hit KO move, it might be able to help it out drastically, or even something like a Flare Blitz. Klinklang going with the Vine Whip. This won't be very effective on Turtonator. It barely even looked like it did any damage whatsoever. Hopefully Duraludon can have more luck. It's going to go with a Petal Dance, another grass type move. This will be more powerful, but it's not going to get the job done. Turtonator's still holding on. It's taken down into the red. That Petal Dance will continue next turn though. So Turtonator's going to go with an Icicle Crash that targets Duraludon. Instead goes for Klinklang though, taking Klinklang down into the yellow. Not very effective. It might have been able to finish Duraludon off, but unfortunately Turtonator did not go for the Dragon Pokemon. Now Kling Klang's going to go with the present. And it's actually going to restore the health here of Turtonator. Turtonator being taken back up into the yellow. So Duraludon's Petal Dance isn't going to finish Turtonator off. Instead, just takes it back down into the red. This will give Turtonator a chance to get an elimination if it can. It's going to go with the Terrain Pulse. This won't be very effective. There's no terrain to capitalize on. Going for Kling Klang there, doing minimal damage. Turtonator is just not hitting effectively like it should. Now Kling Klang is going to go with the Fire Lash. This won't be very effective, and it's not going to get the job done. So Turtonator's still hanging on here, even though it just had its defenses lowered. But that Petal Dance continues from Duraludon. And Turtonator's still holding on. It is the barest of threads, and Turtonator still, it needs to get these eliminations. And now it's going to go with a Vine Whip. This won't be very effective onto Kling Klang, but it does take it down into the red. There's still 2 Pokemon on the field for the Olivine, and they've still got one on the bench. They have such an advantage over Turtonator here, and Kling Klang's going to go with the Circle Throw. This is going to finish it off and give the Olivine the first game. Cinnabar Flare need to lift theirs in game 2. But first, before that, we will send it over to the Maracopia Islands for a tour of the Blushing Beach. Here we have beautiful white sandy beaches of Blushing Beach. Lapras swimming out in the water. We've got the Crabrawler right beside us here. It's even slowing us down running into the Neo 1 tour vehicle. As you can see, Exeggutor and Blossom even up close. Very nice and close to the Exeggutor. These palm trees almost look like a Alolan Exeggutor. Can even see a few Wingull flying around as well. Beautiful, peaceful white sandy beaches. Oh, look, there's a Pikachu. See a few of those around these beach areas. And that open air and fresh sky. As I said, those palm trees looking a lot like Alolan and Exeggutor. And it does look like there's something in those trees there, in those bushes. It is a little bit hard to make out, but it looks like our vehicle's stopped. Oh, we've been stopped by a sleeping Exeggutor. Well, hopefully that'll get out of our way nice and quick. In the meantime, we can appreciate the Lapras in the distance, as well as the Wingull and the Crabrawlers. Again, these white sandy beaches, just beautiful and serene. Hopefully we'll be able to get those Pokemon out of the bushes in a future tour. Oh, but I think we're moving again. Yes, Exeggutor is out of the way. Wonderful. We'll continue this tour. Let's get, again, those lovely Wingulls just flying in the fresh air. Now, I do struggle to say their names for Pukimikyu, and I did butcher that terribly, and I do apologise, but see them just sliding around the rocks, and we get the beautiful Vivillon. We get many Vivillon patterns throughout the beautiful Lental region. As we can see, Finneons and Cursula as we come over that rock face. Look at those massive clouds in the distance. They are just picturesque. And there's another Pukimiku, and again, I do butcher the name, but talking to the Corsola there. Another Lapras. just happily like, swimming through these waters. And if you can just make it out, they are a little flat, but you can see Stumpfisk on some of these beaches. There's Marchant. Looks like he's going through a bit of his posing routine. And Octillery. Oh, Octilleries frighten me. The way they move, horrific. But thankfully, we're nice and safe here in the Neo one. And look, there's Squirtle even riding on Lapras's back. And you can see those Stumpfisk by the water or on the sandy beaches. There's Winkles up in that beautiful sky. There's another Pikachu. Crabrawler working on his punches. And again, more Stumpfisk. That's it for that tour of the beautiful Blushing Beach here on Maracopia Islands. We'll be sending it back over to Cinnabar Island to continue the matchup between the Cinnabar Flare and the Olivine Ore. Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, and welcome back to Game 2 of the major semi-trial where the Cinnabar Flare now are hosting the Olivine Ore, and they need to win this matchup as the Olivine Ore start out with Steelix and Aggron. Massive defensive Pokemon, but Arcanine and Magmortar are starting out with their top 2 draft picks. Cinnabar Flare are starting out with Arcanine and Magmortar, their top 2 draft picks. Now let us know who you think is going to win Game 2. Will it be the Cinnabar Flare or will it be the Olivine Ore? If the Cinnabar Flare lose this matchup, we know straight away that they will go to the minor semi-trial. But if they win, they will still have a chance in Game 3. Regardless, we will have Game 3 as an exhibition game. And we're going to hit a Flamethrower coming from Magmortar to start off this matchup. This will be super effective on Steelix. And it's a one-hit wonder. Steelix is eliminated. Magmortar starting things off right for the Cinnabar Flare. Aggron looking to respond for its teammate. It's going to go with a Frenzy Plant. Now this won't be very effective on the fire types. And Arcanine, having already used that Defend order, it's going to take that shot very well for itself. Olivine are already sending out their third Pokemon after the first turn. And it's Escavalier. Escavalier has that huge offensive power, but it is very slow. So it needs to capitalize on it. Razor Leaf now coming from Arcanine is avoided by Escavalier, but it is going to hit Aggron. It's not going to do a great deal of damage, but it does try to capitalize on the rock typing. Now we're getting Octazooka though coming from Magmortar, and it's going to go for Aggron. Now that's going to be super effective and almost gets it another elimination for the Cinnabar Flare, but that will lower Aggron's accuracy, who now has to recharge. Escavalier going for its first move of the matchup. It goes for the false swipe. Shiny Hunters everywhere rejoice. They all know that move. Does target Arcanine, so it looks like the Olivine are trying to chip away at the #1 draft pick of the Cinnabar Flare. Arcanine now is going to go with a Razor Shell. And it's going to finish Aggron off, so Aggron has been eliminated by the Cinnabar Flare. This is the start that the fire types need. Hit hard and fast on the Olivine Ore. It's Magmortar now goes for the Iron Tail. Now it's not going to be as successful, being not very effective on Escavalier, who has its opportunity to respond. Escavalier is going to set up a Misty Terrain, so it'll give a boost to Fairy types and also weaken Dragon types. Olivine are already sending out their 4th Pokemon for this matchup. And it is Metagross. Metagross has had one of the most impressive seasons of any Pokemon this year in the Elite Challenge League. It's going to be a hard task for the Cinnabar Flare to take down. Metagross can have such an impact on matchups, as Arcanine is going to go for a multi-attack, targeting Escavalier. Not very effective, but very good for the Cinnabar Flare chipping away at Escavalier like that. Magmortar now is going to go for the Quiver Dance. And with that, Magmortar will boost its special attack and special defense as well as its speed. Now Magmortar already has an impressive 125 special attack, so giving that a boost is very good as Metagross goes for the Thunder Shock on Magmortar. It's not going to do a great deal of damage. And Scavalier is going to follow it up with a Sky attack, so we'll see those wings fly up high into the sky. See that move finish off next turn. Now I would love to see a clash today between Metagross and Darmanitan. They have eliminated so many Pokemon this season as we get a Water Gun now coming from Magmortar. Continuing to go for a Scavalier takes it down into the yellow. Arcanine could follow up if it can hit a fire type move, but instead goes for a Withdraw, so it's going to boost its defenses. Metagross goes with the Metal Sound, so it's not doing much with its offensive power yet in this battle. Metagross being a very physical Pokemon. Here comes that Sky attack from a Scavalier. Goes for Arcanine. And that's a much better hit on the fire type, taking it down into the yellow. Now speed advantage massively on the side of the Cinnabar Flare as we get a superpower now coming from Magmortar, and it looks like it's going to go for a Scavalier. And it finishes it off, so Scavalier has been eliminated. Now that will lower the attack and defense of Magmortar, but the first 3 eliminations have been done by the Cinnabar Flare. This is the start they need. As Arcanine now goes with a Razor Leaf. This won't be very effective onto Metagross. Metagross taking its first damage of the matchup. Metagross is going to respond with a Charm. So Metagross still having not done much yet in this battle. But you never count it out until the end of the matchup. But already the Olivine is sending out their 5th Pokemon. And it's Excadrill now joining us on the field. Excadrill is the quickest Pokemon on the Olivine, but it still doesn't have the speed over Magmortar or Arcanine, as Magmortar sets up a grudge. Arcanine looking to follow up for its teammate. It's going to go with a Grass Knot. It welcomes Excadrill to the field with that move. Excadrill is going to respond and go for its first move of the matchup. Going with the Eerie spell. Targeting Magmortar there. Magmortar though still standing strong. Metagross though could follow it up. Going with the Psybeam, we'll get that stab boost being a Psychic type. And it goes for Arcanine here, but Arcanine's holding on. It is taken down into the red as that mist disappears from the battlefield. This is a brilliant start though by the Cinnabar Flare. This is where teams get the Olivine ore. They get those quick early eliminations. As Magmortar now is going to go for a Muddy Water. This is going to hit both Excadrill and Metagross. And it's a massive hit, taking Metagross down into the yellow, but more importantly, it eliminates Excadrill. Already, the Cinnabar Flare have taken down 4 of the Olivine Ore's Pokemon, and Arcanine now is going to go for a Mystical Fire. This will be super effective onto Metagross. And Metagross is eliminated with that super effective move. What is happening here? The Olivine is still yet to get an elimination. There is no way this could be a clean sweep. They're going to send out Duraludon now. But unbelievable. We have only seen 2 clean sweeps all season. And one of them was by the Olivine Ore. They got it over the Viridian Fissure, but I cannot imagine the Cinnabar Flare getting one over the Olivine Ore, who have been so dominant. That Smart Strike's going to do very minimal damage to Duraludon. Arcanine looking to follow up, so again that speed advantage is huge for the Cinnabar Flare. Arcanine going with a Milk Drink, this is actually a really good play, it's going to restore its health. This could actually assist them if they want to go for a clean sweep, but it takes Arcanine back into the green. Duraludon needs to do something big here for the Olivine, and it's going to go for a lovely kiss, but Magmortar's Vital Spirit will prevent it from going to sleep. I cannot believe what is happening at the moment though. I do remember earlier on in the season, Metagross was able to eliminate 6 Pokemon from the Snowpoint Frost all by itself. I'm just fascinated by what is happening right now as we get a Scale Shot from Magmortar onto Duraludon. Only hits twice, and it's going to lower Magmortar's defense there. Does boost its speed, however, but it's already the quickest Pokemon on the field. Arcanine now going for the Hex. And that's a much better hit onto Duraludon. Takes it down into the yellow. Duraludon needs to respond with something like an Earthquake. Instead it goes for a Lash Out. Targeting Arcanine there. This will take Arcanine back down into the yellow, but Arcanine's justified. He's going to boost its attack. This is insane. Cinnabar Flare absolutely dominating the Olivine in their home. That last result from Magmortar is going to fail. See if Arcanine can capitalize on its boosted attack stat as it goes for the dual Wing Beat. There's the first hit, and it's got the second. Almost taking Duraludon down into the red, but not quite. Duraludon's still here all by its lonesome. Gonna go with the Metal Burst. Now, it won't be very effective, but it'll get a stab boost being a Metal type. Targeting Arcanine there. Now Magmortar sets up for its move. Going with the Crush Claw. And that'll take Duraludon down into the red with that not very effective attack. It does lower Duraludon's defense. Arcanine, with a prime opportunity to capitalize. Gonna go with the Fairy Lock though, so it doesn't go for an offensive move. Now Duraludon gonna go with the final Gambit. So Duraludon is gonna give up its spot, which means the Cinnabar Flare have gotten a clean sweep over the Olivine Ore here in the Major Semi-Trial. I cannot believe we've seen this in the Championship Trials. Over the dominant Olivine Ore. They need to bounce back in Game 3, but we're going to send it over to the Overleague for the Incineroar Rumble. This Incineroar Rumble is going to be absolute chaos. Pick a color and let us know in the comments below who you think's going to win this little matchup. 8 different Incineroars going at it though. Can barely contain themselves. And already, the original Incineroar has been eliminated. Followed by the black and blue Incineroar. And what looks like the shiny Incineroar has also been taken out. These quick eliminations already happening. We've had 3 taken down in the first 30 seconds. Zekrom appears on the field now. And we've only got 4 left as the battlefield turns on its side. And Guile's joining us on the field, getting a quick elimination. We're down to the last 2. We have the black and red versus the purple and black, but there's the final hit with the hammer. And Incineroar wins just over a minute into the matchup. And this is it. This is Game 3 of the Major Semi-Trial. Whoever wins this matchup right now is going to stamp their ticket straight into the Grand Trial of the Elite Challenge League. Cinnabar Flare starting out with Flareon and Ninetales. Olivine starting out with Bronzong and Metagross. Now let us know in the comments below who you think is going to stamp their ticket. Will it be the Olivine or will it be the Cinnabar Flare? Ninetales going first. Goes with the Fake Out. A very good play. Targets Bronzong there, so Bronzong we know is going to flinch after that not very effective move. Now, Metagross had a very poor showing in Game 2, see if it can do better now. Goes for the Blue Flare, which is just going to give a boost to Flareon's Fire-type moves. Flareon's going to respond with an Imprison. This will make the Olivine Ore not be able to use their Metronomes. We'll see them struggling here, getting that recoil damage. So the Cinnabar Flare trying to capitalize early. Amnesia being performed by Ninetales is going to boost its defenses. I apologize, boost its special defenses, but here's Metagross using its struggle because it has no moves left. Targeting Ninetales. It does a decent amount of damage to Ninetales, but it takes just as much recoil damage. Flareon with that boosted fire stack goes with the Mist Ball, not capitalizing on its fire type advantage. Going for Bronzong there, not very effective. Bronzong does have its special attack lowered, however. Now it goes for its struggle, targeting Flareon. And again, that recoil damage is just as much damage, just as much as the damage that the Steel types are doing. Now, I mentioned in the previous matchup, how this Olivine had a 7-game win streak. The Cinnabar Flare were coming very close to that. They had 5 games in a row. They actually lost their last round of the season, but they were doing very well to even place themselves second heading into the Elite Challenge League Championship Trials. Liquidation now coming from Flareon. Targeting Metagross here. Metagross holding on though. It's Bronzong now going for its struggle. Almost taking Ninetales down into the yellow. Bronzong and Metagross both in the yellow, already taking severe damage, mostly from the recoil. Ninetales could capitalize here, but instead goes for Kinesis, which does miss. Metagross continues its struggle targeting Ninetales. And Metagross is eliminated. Unbelievable. Metagross having a very poor showing here today in the major semi-trial. And now Flareon's going to go with the flip turn. It's going to hit Bronzong, take it down into the red, and head back to the bench. Coming out now for the Cinnabar Flare will be their third Pokemon. And it's Arcanine, who had that amazing showing in Game 2, accompanied by Magmortar. Now Bronzong is going to go for another struggle, which means it's going to get recoil damage. It's going to finish itself off. Cinnabar Flare are starting off very strong again. This is what they need. And already it is a 4 versus 6 battle as Ferrothorn comes out onto the field for the Olivine. Ferrothorn being joined by Aggron. Aggron looking to redeem itself after its last match. And the Cinnabar Flare continuing with that speed advantage. Ninetales going with the Iron Tail. Targets Ferrothorn there. Even though it's not very effective, actually did more damage than I would have imagined. But Ferrothorn does have its defense lowered. Arcanine could capitalize on that. Arcanine going with the Scale Shot. And it does target Ferrothorn here with that multi-hit move. It's got 2. It's got 3. It's got 4. And it gets all 5. It is a 5-time hit, and even though it's not very effective, it did very well there. It does lower Arcanine's defense, but boosted speed in the process. Now Aggron going for its first move of the matchup. And it's going to go with the Rock Wrecker. This will be super effective, and it's going to go for Arcanine. And it's a one-hit wonder. What a hit by Aggron coming onto the field and getting that one-hit elimination. That is how the Olivine will need to respond. Now we got a Land's Wrath coming from Ferrothorn. This will be super effective on Ninetales and finish it off. So Ninetales has been eliminated, and just like that, we're back to being level. It is now a 4 versus 4 battle between these two sides. That is exactly what the Olivine needed to do, though. Very well done by Aggron and Ferrothorn. Magmortar now coming out for the Cinnabar Flare. It's going to be joined by Flareon coming back out onto the field. Now again, whoever loses this matchup will go into the preliminary trial next week, so they'll still have a chance of making the grand trial in 2 weeks. They'll just have to win another game. As Magmortar goes with the Dragon Breath. The side they'll be facing will be the winners of the Melee Draconids versus the Hearthome Haunts. Flareon now going for the Acid. Doesn't affect Aggron though, or Ferrothorn, because they are immune to poison type attacks. Aggron has to recharge after that Rock Wrecker, but Ferrothorn's going to go for the Thunder Fang, which Flareon actually avoids. Now Magmortar going with the Gunk Shot, but again, those poison type moves aren't going to affect the Olivine. Now Flareon goes with the Power Up Punch. It'll have better luck with this move. Goes for Ferrothorn there. Huge hit. Almost gets the elimination, but Ferrothorn holds on after that super effective attack. Flareon does boost its own attack stat. Aggron goes with the Bug Buzz. This won't be very effective on the fire types. Targeting Flareon. Ferrothorn going to see if it has better luck. And it's going to go with the Bone Rush. This will be super effective, and it goes for Flareon. And it only needs one hit of that multi-hit move to take down the evolution. So just like that, the Olivine have taken the lead for the first time in this matchup. A much needed lead. This is where the Olivine will get really dangerous. Coming out to join Magmortar's Colossal. So we have 2 Rock-type Pokemon on the field at the moment in Aggron and Colossal. As we saw in Game 1, Colossal does have that Steam Engine ability, so if it's hit by a Fire or Water-type move, it will boost its speed. Magmortar goes with the Rock Tomb, targeting Aggron, taking its first damage in the matchup, but it's not very effective. Does lower Aggron's speed, however. Now Colossal gonna go with the Grass Knot. And it targets Aggron with that move. It is stronger the heavier the target, so it takes Aggron down into the yellow. Aggron's gonna respond with a conversion too. It's gonna change its typing. Aggron now becoming a ground type based on that conversion from Magmortar. Now we get a Parabolic Charge coming from Ferrothorn, which won't hit the ground type Aggron. Again, Aggron just gaining the ground type, but it does hit both Cinnabar Flare Pokemon. So Ferrothorn is going to restore a little bit of health. Does get itself back into the yellow. Cinnabar Flare with a massive health advantage over Ferrothorn and Aggron at the moment. A Super Fang coming from Magmortar. This will halve the health of Aggron. It could make it an easy target for Colossal. Colossal going with the Icicle Crash. And it does come down on the Ferrothorn and gets the elimination. So Ferrothorn has been eliminated. It's now a 3 versus 3 battle. Aggron, though, has to go for its move this turn first. And it's going to go with the Petal Dance. Targets Colossal there, trying to capitalize on its rock typing. As Klinklang comes out to join Aggron. That Petal Dance will hit over multiple moves. Over multiple turns, sorry. Now Klinklang is the quickest Pokemon on the field. And goes for the Home Claws. I actually said Excadrill was the quickest Pokemon on the side of the Olivine in the previous matchup, but it is actually Klinklang having a 2-point base speed quicker than Excadrill. Now we get the Facade coming from Magmortar. Welcomes Klinklang to the field with that not very effective move. Colossal going with the Dragon Dance. Boosting its speed and attack here. Aggron continues with that Petal Dance, continuing to focus in on Colossal, taking it down into the yellow. But that is the end of the Petal Dance, which is going to leave Aggron confused from the fatigue. And this is still anybody's matchup. It is a 3 versus 3. And Klinklang going with the Grass Knot. We already saw this move performed. Targeting Colossal there, and it almost finishes it off, but Colossal holds on. This will give Magmortar an opportunity. It goes with the Gastro Acid. Focuses in on Aggron with that move. Now we get the Aromatic Mist coming from Colossal. That mist will boost Magmortar's special defense. Now Aggron's confused. It needs to shake it off, and that it does. So it didn't hit itself in its confusion. And it's going to go for a Leaf Storm. The Olivine will keep going with these Grass-type moves. But it's going to go for Colossal and finish it off with that attack. So Colossal has been eliminated as Aggron's special attack will fall. The Olivine taking this late game lead. Last Pokemon for the Cinnabar Flare comes out, and it's Rapidash. Now Rapidash, being the quickest Pokemon on the field, it's going to go with the Gunk Shot, but it doesn't affect Klinklang. Let's give Klinklang an opportunity, and it goes with the Feather Dance. Focuses in on Rapidash with that attack, lowering the attack stat of Rapidash there. Now Magmortar continues with another Gastro Acid. This time going for Klinklang, suppressing its ability just like it did to Aggron. And Aggron already snaps out of its confusion. Aggron goes for the Curse. With that Curse, Aggron will lower its speed. It does boost its attack and defense stats. Now Rapidash goes for a lunge. If it targets Aggron, it might be able to finish the job, but instead it goes for Klinklang. Now it's not very effective, so Klinklang is barely phased, but it does have its attack stat lowered. Klinklang goes for a Charm. And it does it in response to Rapidash, lowering Rapidash's attack stat again. Now Magmortar goes for the Rock Tomb. Focuses in on Aggron here, but it can't finish the job with that not very effective move. However, Aggron does have its speed lowered once again. Now, it's already the slowest Pokemon on the field, so I don't think it minds that much. But it's going to go with the Pain Split. This is a very good play by Aggron, sharing its pain with Magmortar. So Aggron's going to take itself back up into the green and lower Magmortar's health in the process. Now Rapidash goes for the Cotton Guard, not going for an offensive move. Cinnabar Flare need to capitalize on that Fire-type advantage. This is where things go in the Olivinor's favour, because if they're not being hit by super effective moves, usually they're not very effective attacks. Klinklang goes for a Water Gun. This will be a super effective attack on Magmortar. Magmortar has a chance to respond now though. It's going to go with the Scale Shot, but Aggron avoids that attack. Now, Aggron's going to go for a Bone Rush. We saw this earlier. This is going to be super effective on Rapidash. Hits it once. It's hit it twice. Super effective. Rapidash still in the green though, quite surprisingly. Now Rapidash is going to go for a Double Edge. It's going to get recoil damage from this. It does go for Aggron, taking it back down into the yellow. Doesn't do a great deal of damage, however. Now we get a Drill Peck coming from Klinklang, keeping up those offensive moves. That'll take Rapidash down into the yellow. Magmortar looking to respond for its teammate. And it's going to go with a Rock Slide, but Klinklang avoids that attack. It is going to hit Aggron, however. Although not very effective, barely leaving a mark on the Steel type. Although Aggron is now a Ground type, let's not forget. As Aggron goes for a Spark. And that will finish Magmortar off. Magmortar has been eliminated. Rapidash is all by itself and it's got 3 Pokemon to contend with. This is very similar to what was happening in Game 1. The Olivine all had a 3-1 advantage. And Rapidash goes for the Giga Drain. Focusing in on Aggron here. A huge hit, and that'll get the elimination of Aggron and restore Rapidash's health. That is a brilliant play there by the Cinnabar Flare. That is what they need to do. Now Klinklang though has its chance to target Rapidash, and it goes for the Scratch, so it is going for another offensive attack. However, that one's not going to do as much damage, as the Olivine now send out their last Pokemon, and it's Excadrill. Excadrill has that Ground typing to go with the Steel typing, so if it can capitalize on that and hit Rapidash with a Ground type move, it would be super effective. But Rapidash has the speed advantage over the Olivine Pokemon at the moment, and goes for the Glaciate. This will hit both Klinklang and Excadrill, doing much more damage to Excadrill than what it did Klinklang. However, it does lower the speed of both Pokemon. Now Klinklang's going to set up a Hail over the field, so everyone's going to be taking damage from that Hail in between turns. Now the Olivine will have that Pokemon numbers advantage as we get a Grass Pledge coming from Excadrill. That numbers advantage will be huge to try and get themselves a victory. Again, they want to try and get straight into the Grand Trial. If you can have one less matchup to compete in the Grand Trial, all the more power to you, as everyone takes damage from that Hail. Rapidash needs to hit hard and hit fast. It is hitting fast, but unfortunately it's not hitting very hard as it goes for a Payday over Klinklang. Not very effective on the Steel type again. Klinklang responds now though with a Hyper Voice. And Rapidash holds on. It's an easy target for Excadrill though. And Excadrill goes with the Dark Pulse. It's a 1-2 hit. This is going to finish the job. Rapidash is eliminated. The Olivine have won here today. They are going straight through to the Grand Trial. The Cinnabar Flare are not eliminated. They are going down to the preliminary trial next week. Again, they will face the winner of the Maleo Draconids and the Heart Home Haunts. But a massive win here for the Olivine, continuing to show their dominance, well, except for in Game 2, where there was a clean sweep over them. I cannot believe that happened, actually. But the Olivine winning 2 out of 3 games here today, Massive victory for them. They will compete in the first ever Grand Trial of the Elite Challenge League. But until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I really appreciate if you've gotten this far in the video and have watched. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and until then, I will speak to you guys next time.